Happy Monday. I'm excited to be with you again on another Monday. It is the last Monday of the years, guys. So I am so happy that you're here with me. My name is Janelle Villiers, and I am the host of the Janelle Villiers Podcast. And I am all about giving tips and tools for those who are interested in writing books. If you've ever had the dream of writing your book, come back, follow me for more, because I'm giving a lot of tips and how-tos on how to make that happen. In addition to that, I also interview authors, and we get to talk all about their book, what their book is about, and also their process, so we can learn from each other. And then sometimes I even interview people who haven't written a book yet, but their story is still worth sharing. So I'm really excited to be with you today. If this is the first time that you are here on the podcast, please go ahead and put a 1 in the comments. I'd like to shout out all my newbies. If you are returning, if you've been here in the past, please go ahead and put a 2 in the comments. I love to shout out all of my people who are returning back. Hello again. So happy to see you. And so I'm really excited because today we have a different topic. Something that I am really excited about talking about. How do we stop trying to control our teams, right? A lot of us are in leadership positions. We are working with a group of people, and we may feel like we could do better. And when we communicate with our teams and we're having meetings, we may think to ourselves, that didn't go as well as I would have liked. Like, so much more could have happened. And I'm sure many of us have been on the other end of that, where we're like, that could have been an email. Why did we have a meeting about this? And so I really want us to tackle this as a concept. Let's have a conversation around this. And even better, let's talk with somebody who is actually making those meetings into better meetings. I'm really excited for this topic. And so obviously I am not the one who's going to be answering all the questions today. I have a phenomenal guest with me. Not only is she a wife and a mother, but she is out there literally creating a movement of #BetterMeetings. And what I love that she has done is that she has become a best-selling author by helping people have better meetings, teaching them a method in which they can actually lead people in a way that feels fulfilling, and everybody feels like they're a part of a bigger movement, right? Something that's bigger than themselves. So everybody, please stand on your feet, start the clapping, do all the things, because we are about to bring to the stage Rebecca.
If you've ever felt like meetings are where good ideas go to die, or you're tired of watching the loudest voice win, come with me. I'll show you what I learned about turning chaos into collaboration, one meeting at a time. Ready to stop surviving meetings and start orchestrating them? Let's do this together.
Yeah.
There she is. Hello, Rebecca.
Hello, Janelle.
And I do want to promise to give a shout out. There's some newbies here, so I just want to say hello to Timony. Also, hello to Tracy. Hello, hello, hello. And it looks like Jace may be trying to say something in the comments. So hello, Jace, we see you. Welcome to the podcast. So Rebecca, I am so excited for you to come on the show. I absolutely love your book. You know that. So I would love for people who are meeting you for the first time, if you could just share, why did you decide to write a book on this particular topic?
Yeah, so I decided to write a book because I wanted to help leaders who are in the situation that I have been in my corporate career. I did not come into the workplace knowing and understanding the things that I teach in this book. I had to learn it through the school of what they call hard knocks. So there were many trip ups and failures as I learned over years what it takes to bring people together, to collaborate and co-create and just think better together. And as I was winding down my career, so I spent 3 decades in corporate and in different professional capacities and roles. And I was thinking, I want to help people who are out there who may be in the situations that I was in, and they need to understand the things that I learned through the school of hard knocks, so they don't have to learn it the hard way. And that really is the driving force behind my writing the book, is to give people the shortcut to say, okay, here's exactly what you need to do to not only make your meetings better, but I believe become a better leader.
That part. I certainly agree. And so, not to give too much away, but one of the genius things that I think that you did is that you created a fictional story that exemplifies like how it kind of looks to start off having orchestrating meetings and then they fail. And then what it looks like to learn how to do it better. And I love that you use that model. And there are certain characters that show up in this fictional story that also people I think can seriously relate to. So how did you choose the characters in the meeting room, and what leadership challenges do you feel like each of them represent?
Yeah, so that is a great question. And it really started with me just thinking about all of the teams that I've led in the years that I was in the workplace, and as you said, some of the challenges that I encountered while I was leading meetings and even participating in meetings. And I started thinking about, okay, if I could create what they call in the marketing world a persona, if I could create a persona of who these challenging personalities are, or who these different personalities are that I have seen show up in meetings. And that started me thinking about, well, how about I create some characters that represent those personas? And that was how these characters were born. And I think people, at least the people that I've heard and talked to that have read the book, as you said, they resonate with one or more of the characters in this book. And it has surprised me how much people resonate with the different characters. So, for example, we have Ravi. Ravi is I call him the skeptical realist. He is that person who is, as they would say, just keeping it real, just saying it like he sees it, calling it like he sees it, and he's bringing up the hard issues. He's talking about the things that sometimes other people want to gloss over it. He is going to be the one who is going to come into the meeting room and actually talk about some of the tough subjects or risks around what the team is thinking about. So that's one character.
Hold on. Put an R in the chat if you think that you're you're a Ravi. If you're a Ravi in meetings, do you show up telling it like it is, calling it like it is? Put an R in the comments if that's you.
And then we have Charlie, who I have a whole chapter that introduces Charlie in my book called The Smartest Person in the Room. And Charlie is that commanding personality that enters a room. Charlie has entered the room when he enters the room because he takes up space. And he's not afraid to say what is on his mind, to put his ideas forward, to talk, to sometimes even control the conversation and the direction of the conversation. And to put his own idea and agenda on the table. He's very good at it as well. And so there's Charlie, which Charlie is Joan. Joan is the team lead who gets assigned to lead all of these personalities.
Hold on. If you feel like you're a C, if you feel like you're Charlie and you need to come into a meeting and take charge and give the directions, go ahead and put a C in the comments. Let us know. I saw a couple of R's from Gwen and Melissa already. So if that's you, put a C. And then, yes, tell us about Joan.
So Joan is tapped by her boss to come into, she's hasn't been with the company long, but she gets tapped to be in charge of this team to solve a problem for the company. And so she has Charlie, she has Ravi on the team, and Charlie is one of her biggest challenges because she is trying to make sure that everyone in the room gets to participate, gets to put their ideas on the table, their voice is heard in the room. And so people like Ravi and Charlie, if you do not have a team lead who can orchestrate the room, I call it orchestrating the room, organizing the conversation and balancing who's participating and who's being quiet. If you don't have someone in that role who has some of the skills that I talk about in my book, Ravi and Charlie will take over your meeting and dominate it.
So we've got Winnie, who is Winston, who is a recovering Charlie. Thank you, Winston. If you are like Joan, if you've recently been put in position to lead a group of people, if you've recently been put in position to orchestrate meetings or to, essentially direct a group of your peers, go ahead and put a J in the chat because you've recently been put in the position of Joan. I'd really love to hear that. I see you. I'll just put this out there. I see you, Mackenzie. Thank you for coming on. Even being 10 years old, this is great information.
Yeah, Mackenzie, because you might have classmates like Charlie and Ravi.
Who are similar. I love this. Also, a huge shout out to Melissa and what she has to say about your book. It's one of the most impactful books I have read as a leader to bring every meeting to a productive and impactful life. A huge must read. Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you so much, Melissa.
So if you guys have questions, please go ahead and put your questions in the comments because I want to make sure that Rebecca answers all of your questions. If you are watching this on the recording, put your questions still in the comments. We read all the comments. I will make sure Rebecca gets the questions so that way you get your answers. So please go ahead and put your questions in the comments. Okay, so we're talking about leadership. And at some point in your book, you talk about how leadership is about energy, not necessarily control. So can you explain what that looks like in real life in meetings?
Absolutely. So when you are put in charge of a team or to lead a meeting, the energy that you bring into the room can determine what goes on in the room. And I think this is an important thing that I had to learn. So if you are frantic, nervous, or having a bad day, and you walk into that meeting room and you are the person that is in charge of the meeting, all of that energy, the nervous energy, the anxious energy, if you feel just scattered, I've been there. I've been there. And you want to walk into that room in a way that settles it so that people feel safe and calm and ready to engage. And if you're walking into the room with the types of energy that I just talked about, it will cause people to withdraw, and they might even reflect being reflective of your nervousness or your anxiousness, right? So now you have brought that energy in the room and transferred it to the people in the room. So it's something that I think doesn't get talked about enough. And it is vitally important, especially if you're leading a group of people who you want them to collaborate and connect and create something together, whether that's solving a problem or working together as a team to get something done, to build something. Whatever your role is as that leader, you have to understand that the energy that you carry is transferred to your team.
That's huge. So, okay. What, if we could like get an example, what do you think is one small shift a team lead can make to basically immediately change the energy in the room? Is there like one small thing that they can do to help change that energy?
Yeah, it starts with you. And what I tell people is breathe. So this is something that caught me off guard. Again, I learned these things myself. What I am teaching you, I had to learn to practice myself. And I, at one point, had become a runner, and I was training for a marathon. And I'm out training and running, and I got what runners call the side stitches. And if you've ever had the side stitches, it literally feels like someone is stabbing you in the ribs. It's very painful. And so when it happened to me, I thought, what is going on? Am I injured? Have I injured myself? And I started reading up on it, and it said that it was because my breathing was off. I wasn't pacing my breathing correctly. And that when you're running, you have to pace your breath with the speed of your run. So if you've ramped it up, your heart rate goes up, then your breathing rate should go up, but it should always remain paced and smooth. And so I had to, at 40 years old, learn how to breathe. This is what I tell people. I had to learn how to breathe correctly to run. And I started paying attention to my breath. And I realized, Janelle, that sometimes I would be in a meeting and I was holding my breath. And it's something that we do subconsciously when we're under pressure, when we are anxious, or even sometimes when we're thinking, we will tend to hold our breath. And this is why they tell people who are learning how to do public speaking, one of the things they tell you is to do some deep breathing to calm your limbic system. Okay, that's what they call it. I won't get into all the neurology. I've studied it. I know how it all works. But that's what you're doing when you breathe deeply. So the one thing that I would tell them is to, before you walk into that meeting room, create a ritual where you stand outside of the meeting room and take a few deep breaths before you enter the meeting room. It does two things. It helps you calm yourself down, and it helps you shift that energy that we talked about earlier, right? So that when you walk into that room, you walk into that room with that calm presence.
I love that. I love that tip so much. If you found that tip valuable, please put a V in the comments so we know that that is helping somebody out there. I love
this. Listen, Janelle, I know how hard this is, especially for busy managers, because a lot, and I've been in that chair before where you're running from one meeting to the next to the next. It just feels very frantic, but you have to give yourself that time for yourself so that you show up with that intentional presence?
It's a real thing. And I love that you said that, like, make it a ritual, right? Because if you make it a ritual, if it's something that you just always do, or like a habit even, then you don't have to think about it if you think of it that way. It'll start to become a routine and a part of what you do as you enter the room. So I love that. I love that you said that. For those who are of the audience who are thinking about writing a book, who are thinking, you know what, 2026 is going to be the year. We're going to get this done. What are some tips? What are some insight that you can give those aspiring authors about the process that you feel like would be helpful to know now that you're on this side of it?
Well, the first thing I would say is something that I have done consistently across my career. Anytime I go to do something new or different that I've never done before, I hire a coach. I hire someone to help me as I embark on my new journey, whatever that is. And so I would highly recommend that they hire a coach. My recommendation would be Janelle. Because and I took your author's voyage. I learned so much about the practice of writing. It is a practice. It is, I think sometimes people think, oh, I'll just write when I get the inspiration. Well, what I learned is it's an intentional practice. Just like when I learned how to run a marathon, you just don't wake up one day and run a marathon. You have to do a lot of practice. You're running sometimes 5 times a week. You're out there logging those miles, just logging those miles. And it's the same approach when you think about writing. I would say to anyone out there who had an idea to write a book, do it, and do it now. I wish I had done this before now. Because I could have, I had one of the things I struggled with in writing this book was I had this anthology, all this knowledge I wanted to share. How do I scope it down and make it bite-sized so that people can absorb and understand what I'm saying? And that was so hard. Why? Because I waited so long before writing this book. I collected all this information, and now I'm trying to break it into pieces to put it into this book so that people can actually get some value out of it.
And a ton of value. Hello. A ton of value is what you'll get. If you want to get Melissa's book, it's called The Meeting Room. Wrong book. That's embarrassing.
That is Melissa's book.
Oh my goodness. You know what it is? It's outside in the living room, and now I really can't go get it. Because here's the reason why. Because I gave it to my mother. My mother runs a lot of meetings, and she had started reading your book before. She was one of your beta readers, and she was like, oh my God, this is so good. For church, she runs a lot of meetings for her church and elsewhere. And she was just like, if not for me, I'm going to give this book to somebody else. So we were literally talking about it. We were going through the book. And then I thought I brought the book in and brought a different book in. So
no worries. Look, I've got, if you see on my screen, there's a QR code.
There it is.
You can scan it and it'll take you, I think it should take you directly to my Amazon book page. So I am on Amazon. The book is called The Meeting Room, Navigating the Complexity of Being a Team Lead. And in addition to the story that's in there, it has these meeting magic tips where just like what we talked about with the breathing, there are so many other tips that I give in this book. And then I also have 25 Rebecca's rules. And rule number 1 is great meetings are never accidents. They are always planned. And if I could leave one thing with all the leaders in the room to think about, it would be that. Be intentional about your meetings. What is the purpose of your meeting? Who are the participants, and have you prepared them for your meeting? What is the product you want to produce from the meeting? And what kind of presence needs to be in the meeting as you're producing that product? I call it the 4 Ps. It's part of my meeting symphony framework, which is also in the book.
I love it. I just put the link in the comments as well. If you are on YouTube, you can find the link to get Melissa's book. It's because Melissa just made a comment. Sorry, this is Melissa's comment. If you want to get the link for Rebecca's book, it's in the description below if you're on YouTube. If you're on LinkedIn or Facebook, you'll find the link above the video. You can get the book there. But also, I put the link in the comment section so you can get it right now. Highly, highly, highly recommend. It honestly, like, changing. We are making a movement. I said this to you before, and I sincerely mean it. # better meetings. And I love the fact that you have, like, identified, not only is it better meetings, but it also creates for better leadership. And that, I think, is what we really could really use right now in all areas, places, and spaces. I think that's what would be really helpful. And I was going to ask you for one other, but then you gave it. Like, what do you want the readers to take away with it? And you gave us your 4 Ps. That was incredible. If you guys have any last minute questions, it's now or never. So go ahead and put those questions in the comments. You might be the very last question. While we do that, I also want to make sure people have the ability to contact you. You can find Rebecca on Instagram at Rethought LLC. You can find her on Facebook as Rebecca Mott. You can find her on LinkedIn as Rebecca H Mott. Don't forget the H. And here is her website, trainwithrebecca.com. So please check out all of these places to talk to her. She's a real person. If you reach out to her, she will respond.
Absolutely. I want to hear from people. What are you struggling with in these meeting rooms? I call it inside the meeting room. We're going inside the meeting room, and I want to hear from you. So if you have a story to share or a tip that you've found helpful as you've led your own meetings, I'd love to hear about it.
Let's do that. Go ahead and put in the comments a tip that you have found to be really helpful as you walk into these meetings. And then if you agree with any of the tips that somebody put, then go ahead and like that comment. But we want to start, let's get like a running list of like tips for how to actually come into these meetings and they were actually successful or accomplished what the goal was. I would love to get a running list, and then we'll start like collecting those. We'll just add them to your book because I'm sure a lot of them will come out of what you share as well. This has been so good, Rebecca. I'm going to have you back on because we need to know more things.
I would love to be back on your podcast. I've enjoyed it.
Wonderful. Well, guys, this, again, if you got a lot of value from today, please put a V in the comment section. Blow up the comments. Let Rebecca know that you got a lot of value out of today. I certainly did. Reading the book. Hearing it again is also really helpful. It reminds me of what are some of the most important things. So go ahead and put a V in the comments if you found this valuable. And thank you again, Rebecca. Thank you. Definitely going to have you back on. And for everyone else, I will see you here next week. It'll be the first Monday of the year. I can't wait to see you all there. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Click the notification bell because then you don't miss any of the shows. It's a free thing that you can do that actually supports me and my stations. That way we can bring more guests like this on. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your night.